I'm Jane King at the NASDAQ market site. Angie of Angie's List is going to be a rich woman. Her company has a big buyout offer.
I'm Patricia Wu with the New York Stock Exchange. 007 is back in action in his latest film, Spectre. Find out about the small caps that had cameos.
I'm Remy Blair in San Francisco. iGate Pharma is seeing green. Is it a sign to take your eyes off the stock? And FreshPet isn't looking so fresh. Can it lick its wounds or will it go to the dogs?
Welcome to Small Cap Nation. I'm Jane King at the NASDAQ market site in Times Square. Interactive Corp, the owner of websites including About.com and Home Advisor, says it's offering to buy Angie's List for about $512 million to expand its home service providers. The deal would combine similar businesses. Angie's List lets users research, shop for, and rate local plumbers, home cleaners, and other home services. HomeAdvisor.com offers resources for home repair and improvement projects, such as helping find the average project costs across the country and finding professionals for the work. The offer comes a month after shareholder TCS Capital urged the board of Angie's List to consider a combination with competitor Home Advisor, saying it could lead to significant cost savings and end a marketing battle between the two companies. TCS has been pushing the company for months to make a change, given a more than year-long drop in its stock price. Well, FreshPet stock going to the dogs after an earnings miss. The company cut its 2015 outlook as growth in the number of pet food makers' refrigerated display cases missed expectations for the third quarter. FreshPet Chief Executive Richard Thompson said sales per refrigerated unit increased, demonstrating continued consumer demand for the company's fresh, natural pet foods, though growth in the number of refrigerated units, which rose 13%, missed estimates. Remy Blair will have more on FreshPet's details of its earnings miss coming up later in the show. Liberty Media announced plans to reclassify its common stock into three new tracking stock groups. One of the tracking stocks is named Liberty Braves Group, the second Liberty Media, and the third Liberty Sirius Group. Liberty Media said it expects to complete the creation of the new tracking stocks in the first half of next year. A tracking stock is a type of common stock that tracks or depends on the financial performance of a specific business unit or operating division of a company and trades as a separate security. Media mogul and Liberty Media chairman John Malone previously used tracking stocks in 2012 to separate the home shopping service assets of Liberty Interactive from its digital media business. Well, lots of small cap companies in the news today with earnings, so here's the rundown. Arcadia Biosciences lockup on shares is expiring. Digital Ally reported a loss. FreshPet said sales were below estimates. Mankind confirmed a planned stock sale. Mass Therapeutics says its life-saving drug may be on the market by 2017. Popeye's sales beat estimates. Well, Energizer missed on its profit and provided a downbeat view. The battery company, best known for its famous bunny, said earnings and revenue fell for the latest quarter. It was impacted by the timing of holiday shipments, currency headwinds, and the unfavorable comparison to prior year temporary promotional gains. But the long-term trends are also not in Energizer's favor. Disposable batteries have been largely displaced as consumers shift to smartphones and other devices with built-in and rechargeable batteries. And a day after SunEdison shares dropped 22%, the stock is down another 15% on Wall Street. The concern is a bigger than expected loss in the third quarter. Management says SunEdison will be cash flow break even by the middle of next year. So that's the big hope for bullish investors, but it's far from a certainty. And in fact, until the investors see progress on a financial front and a profit from selling projects, it's a stock that some say they will stay away from. The downside risk, they say, is just too big. James Bond is back fighting crime in his latest flick, Spectre, and he's doing it with a little help from some small cap companies. Patricia Wu is at the New York Stock Exchange with more.
Hey Jane, we're going to talk about all things Bond with Alan Valdez here. So Alan, this movie cost something like $250 million to make, another $150 million to market. It also had the most product placements of any Bond in history. That makes sense.
Yes, it does. I mean, it's such a big production. Even though it did $73 million in the box office, it did $200 million worldwide, it still has to regroup at least $650 million to break even. And the best way to do that is with product placement. And some small cap companies right here that trade here on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange are involved in that. We had Gillette up there in Boston. Gillette came across their product placement. They don't tell you how much they paid to get in there, but they'll get a big bump from that too. MPO, it's a British company. They make the cashmere sweater that James Bond wears, that black one that's in the poster. They'll do great with that. They're already sold out on that particular sweater, but it gets their name out there. It gets those eyeballs watching it. So it's really a big push. And they do have to pay for that product placement, but at the end of the day, they make a fortune on it. So it's definitely, if they're lucky enough to get in a movie like this, a franchise movie that millions are going to see worldwide, it's money well worth spent.
And it could be a lot of money. I actually read that for that swig of Heineken that Bond took in Skyfall, $45 million.
Wow. That is pretty hefty. But again, I mean, Heineken's #1 out there. They have that budget. They can spend it. So they're big cap. But a small cap company, to get that chance to get out there, it's well worth it, definitely.
Yeah, it's not a one-time ad. Eyeballs, as Alan said, for years to come and around the world. That does it for us from the floor of the New York Stock Exchange.
A pharma stock surges after positive results in its clinical trial. We take you to San Francisco next when Small Cap Nation continues.
Guys, I got the jerseys. El Nino. Aquí. Spray Dan.
Oh, yeah.
Don Ovan.
Think that's me?
You guy. It's $40. Can you cover that?
I'll send it to you right now. Done.
Okay, got it. So hat-trick Rick, he's the best player on our team. You get the ball, you give it to him.
Great. Rick.
On your phone, online, on the go, Wells Fargo makes it easy to get banking done.
All right, Don, you're on. Nope, just kidding.
Doug, you've been staring at that for a while, huh? Listen, TD Ameritrade has former floor traders to help walk you through that complex trade, so you'll be confident enough to do what you want. I'll pull up your number. Blammo. Let's get those guys on the horn. Ooh. Looks like it is time to upgrade your phone, Douglas.
For all the confidence you need, TD Ameritrade. You got this.
Let's go, Serena. Fight. Come on, fight. Can't stop me now. Come on, Serena. Can't stop me now. You don't want me. You can't mess with this.
Back to the top. Here we go. 2, 4, 5, 6. Whoa, stop. Let's go back. 1, 2. Whoa, we're going to stop there. I bet we can do it even better.
It took tennis legend Serena Williams, fencing champion Tim Morehouse, and the world-famous Rockettes years to master their craft. But it took them only moments to master paying bills at Chase.com, depositing checks at Chase ATMs, and transferring funds on the mobile app. Technology designed for you, so you can easily master the way you bank.
Highgate Pharmaceuticals is rallying today. The NASDAQ-listed stock up by over 25%. Now, what's behind the move?
Well, shares of the clinical stage pharma name are up an eye-watering percentage point. The Massachusetts-based company released its latest earnings and recently reported positive interim data. Today's rally is nothing compared to the spike we saw last week when shares surged over 90% on the positive data from a key trial. Separately, Highgate reported a new loss for Q3 of $1.4 million compared with net income of $0.3 million in Q3 of last year. And R&D costs climbed in the latest quarter due to a rise in clinical activity. Meanwhile, general and admin expenses rose compared to the same quarter in 2014, but that was mostly related to an increase in stock compensation for options issued in connection with the company's IPO and stock offering.
So what exactly were the findings from the ongoing trial to treat patients suffering from macular edema?
The ongoing trial evaluates the use of Highgate's EGP-437 ophthalmic solution to treat patients suffering from macular edema. Now, this is a condition that results in the swelling or thickening of the eye's macula, and that's the part of your eye responsible for detailed central vision. Macular edema develops when blood vessels in the retina leak fluids. The macula does not function properly when it is swollen, and vision loss is common, but in many cases, your peripheral or side vision remains. Now, macular edema is the most common form of vision loss for people with diabetes. iGate's latest status showed that the non-invasive delivery of EGP437 reflected improved response in some patients. And patients with an eye implanted with an intraocular lens responded better than an eye with a natural lens. Now, the data is still positive because the treatment did not show any significant adverse side effects. It did not increase ocular pressure, although the dose was administered 3 times. Now, the trial's principal investigator says that he believes this data is encouraging and warrants an extension to the trial to continue the work on the ideal dose and dosing regimen for the delivery of EGP437.
Well, given the promising data and recent financial results, what's the longer-term outlook for iGate?
Well, it's been a big year for the company. iGate signed a licensing agreement with Valeant in early July. It licensed worldwide rights to its drug to Valeant and is receiving an undisclosed upfront payment milestones as well as royalties. Now, the deal will help the company pay for a second phase 3 study in uveitis so it can seek regulatory approval. In turn, that means iGate has to share the benefits of the drug, which treats the tissue in the front of the eye if it is approved. iGate also announced its first dosing of patients for its iGate 2 drug delivery system and last week reported positive findings. Overall, iGate needed a partner to move forward with the trial for the drug EPG437. The company raised $4 million in a February IPO, and that's much less than the $25 million iGate had hoped to get from an offering on the NASDAQ in 2014, which was eventually canceled. And last but not least, on the patent front, iGate received a notice of allowance from the US PTO covering its drug application for EGP437. And that's a key addition to the company's patent portfolio.
Up next, we'll take you to Paris for an update on the European markets, plus a new wearable that could harvest energy from human activity. Sounds cool, right? The story when Small Cap Nation returns.
Good. Very good. You see something moving off the shelves, and your first thought is to investigate the company. You are type E. Yes, investment opportunities can be anywhere. Or not. But you know the difference.
E-Trade's barcode scanner. Shorten the distance between intuition and action. E-Trade. Opportunity is...
Before they sat down, one more time, just for themselves. Before the last grandchild graced the stage. Before Katie and her husband hit that rough patch. Before Kevin finally came home and the first grandchild arrived. Before the sons-in-law, daughters-in-law, and Brad's brief brush with the law. Before the second British invasion. Before Katie, Debbie, Kevin, and Brad. Before they became a family. There was a connection that started it all and made the future the wonderful thing it turned out to be. We know we're not the center of your life, but we'll do our best to help you connect to what is.
Sometimes the present looked bright, sometimes romantic. There were tears in my eyes, and tears in my eyes. And so many little things that we learned were really the biggest things. Through it all, we saved and had a retirement plan, and someone who listened and helped us along the way. Because we always knew that someday the future would be the present.
Every someday needs a plan. Talk with us about your retirement today.
Graham, what has been moving the European markets today?
Yes, Jane, the markets really have been off after a brief rally all over Europe, mainly on poor corporate news, UK, France and Germany. It's really today has been Mario Draghi's day. The ECB chief spoke to the European Parliament and everything really flowed from there. In a world driven by the perception of central bank action, we listen to what the central bank has to say, then price it and generally exaggerate the moves, said Chris Weston at IG, and that does seem to be the way of things. After really a no-news speech in London last night, He statement to the European Parliament suggested again potential lowering of the deposit rate and more easing decided at the December meeting. One point that he did make and is often forgotten about was the need for fiscal and therefore political integration within the EU. This is really overlooked by a lot of people. The EU is still work in progress. The original founders saw it in 3 stages. First, goods, capital and people moving freely around, free trade. Then secondly, monetary union, monetary integration, the euro. And then finally, fiscal, which meant political integration. And really today we're at sort of step 2 and a bit, not fully monetary integration and nowhere near fiscal and political integration. This is obviously an area of considerable contention, particularly with the British. So without further integration, some people have called the euro an orphan currency, and there's an element of truth in that. And until we get further integration, it's difficult to see how things are going to improve. And have you ever met a politician who's going to give up his powers? I think not. But I think this week I would give the quote of the week also to Mario Draghi.
What is that?
Well, when challenged about the role of the ECB in the banking crisis, he said, "When you look at the fire damage, blame the fire, not the fireman." And I think that's his position going forward as well.
Well, Graham, what news do you have for us today?
Well, briefly, the Amundi IPO we spoke about yesterday was very well received by French and institutional investors. The offering price had been set at the bottom of the price range, 45 a share, giving a market capitalization of about 7.5 billion euros. It also appears that some of Crédit Agricole's shares were taken up to fill the demand. So generally a success, partly possibly due to pricing. Today we're looking at a London AIM quoted company, Groot Tech Capital, which has filed a patent application for a wearable device that could harvest energy from everyday human activities. The patent for the technology, which is dubbed Moji, M-O-J-E, Moji, has been filed in the US and under Patent Cooperation Treaty.
Well, this sounds interesting. What is that about?
The portable device would incorporate a novel dual-mode low-frequency mechanism that generates current and could be used to potentially recharge a variety of mobile devices. These new patent applications are in addition to 2 previously acquired intellectual property announced in June, which are being applied to capture energy from subliminal in-shoe devices during walking or running. However, this Moji and its underlying patent represent a different IP and separate application to the piezoelectric mechanical device, which was the June announcement and was obtained from the University of Michigan and addressed energy harvesting in a very different way. Directors believe that energy harvesting from human motion to mobile portable types of devices is poised to become a major new product category. Pending successful testing and commercialization, Tech Capital Moji could significantly extend battery life through harvesting energy from everyday human activities such as walking, hiking, running, etc., jumping even, giving us the users the power to recharge their batteries while on the move. So this is quite interesting. So it sounds quite interesting, charge as you go in the future.
And who is Tech Capital?
Tech Capital is a London AIM quoted global university technology and intellectual property services company, originally founded in Oxford, England. The core strategy is capturing the innovation developed from some of the world's finest minds, and using its proprietary invention discovery network, it sources technologies, innovations, inventions, etc. for some 4,000 research institutions in 160 countries to help them and tech capital's commercial clients, which is the other side, profit from university developed intellectual property. So really they're a facilitator. On one side they evaluate the potential commercial application of research from labs and universities, and on the other side they effectively provide their commercial customers with a global R&D department, 4,000 of them, from which they can acquire the proprietary technology they need to advance their business. So it's a very interesting business model and seems to be working quite successfully. That's it for Graham Brown, and this is Small Cap Nation Europe for today.
Straight ahead, a pet food company stock has gone to the dogs. We focus on FreshPet when Small Cap Nation comes right back.
Everyone works hard for a reason. Working together, we can help you prepare financially for when 2 becomes 3. Wells Fargo. Together we'll go far.
You want to be the best investor you can be. You want to cut through the noise of an overwhelming amount of analysis. You want the insights that will help you decide which ideas to execute and which to leave behind. You want your trades executed in 1 second or less, guaranteed and routed with institutional quality technology. Look no further. Open an account and find more of the expertise you need to be a better investor.
When I got the phone call that we had received the grant, I held my breath.
To have a program like this is a big reward.
Being a Chase Mission Main Street grant recipient is a game changer.
One of the biggest surprises in starting a small business is the number of hours we should work for the first 20 years.
One of the great things about this grant is that it is going to let us invest in some additional inventories.
It's going to allow this business to go to the next level.
Being a recipient of this grant, we can't be thankful enough.
It's a dream come true, and I'm still in awe.
Consumers are careful about their food. They care about its origin and nutritional content. So it's no surprise that pets are getting the royal treatment. But FreshPet shed over 20% in morning trade. As winter approaches, can the company manage to grow a healthy and heavy coat?
Well, it's not looking too cheery for FreshPet. The specialty pet food company reported a wider than expected loss for Q3 and cut its forecast for this year. FreshPet reported a loss of $1.7 million or 5 cents a share, compared with a year earlier loss of $9.5 million or $1.19 a share. Meanwhile, revenue climbed 36% to $30.6 million. For the year, FreshPet expects adjusted earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation, and amortization of $10 million to $11 million and revenue of $115.5 million to $117 million versus its previous estimates for adjusted EBITDA of $12.5 million to $14 million and revenue of $117 million to $119.5 million. Meanwhile, gross margin fell to 45.9% from 48.3%, and this was partly on lower margin contributions from its FreshPet Bake Test product and from manufacturing inefficiencies related to new product innovation. But it is not altogether flailing in the wind. PE firm Midosh Foundation partners and Tyson Foods are among FreshPet's investors.
FreshPet products can be found in refrigerated display cases across the country. While the company expects to up the number of cases in stores, the figure is lower than previous estimates. What's behind the pullback, and why does Fido's food need to be refrigerated?
The maker of fresh pet food may just as well belong to the gourmet category, even by most consumer standards. FreshPet expects the number of refrigerated display cases to increase to between 14,900 and 15,000 units this year, which is down from previous estimates. And in its latest earnings report, FreshPet Chief Executive Richard Thompson said sales per refrigerated unit increased. The number of refrigerated units, which were up 13%, still missed estimates, but at the same time, this reflects continued consumer demand for the company's pet foods. The recipes are prepped at the company's kitchen in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. And if the company's name isn't telling, well, the ingredients are fresh. So get this, locally sourced fresh veggies and fruits, high fiber grains, and fresh poultry, beef, and fish are packed into the pet foods.
The FreshPet stock may be in the doghouse, but what about the broader outlook for the pet food industry? Pet owners pamper their furry friends, but can any of the small cap names be an investor's best friend?
Well, innovation in pet care isn't exclusive to FreshPet. There are other names in the space. Small caps, including Central Garden and Pet, along with PetMed Express, are two noteworthy players. And VCA may not be a small cap, but one of the many animal healthcare companies worth watching. There are different ways to get into the pet category. And this name is a reminder to keep an eye on the mega pharma names that have animal health divisions. The fact that pets are being pampered by humans, well, that is reflected in consumer spending.
Sun Edison stock is getting hammered, and now analysts are weighing in on the company. Should you buy, sell, or hold? That story coming up next.
Guys, I got the jerseys. El Nino. Aquí. Spray Dan.
Oh, yeah.
Don Ovan.
Think that's me?
You guy. It's $40. Can you cover that?
I'll send it to you right now. Done.
Okay, got it. So Hat-Trick Rick, he's the best player on our team. You get the ball, you give it to him.
Great. Rick.
On your phone, online, on the go, Wells Fargo makes it easy to get banking done.
All right, Don, you're on. Nope, just kidding.
Doug, you've been staring at that for a while, huh? Listen, TD Ameritrade has former floor traders to help walk you through that complex trade, so you'll be confident enough to do what you want. I'll pull up their number. Blammo. Let's get those guys on the horn. Ooh. Looks like it is time to upgrade your phone, Douglas.
For all the confidence you need, TD Ameritrade. You got this.
Let's go, Serena. Fight, fight. Come on, fight. Can't stop me now. Come on, Serena.
Back to the top. Here we go. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whoa, stop. Let's go back. 1, 2. Whoa, we're going to stop there. I bet we can do it even better.
It took tennis legend Serena Williams, fencing champion Tim Morehouse, and the world-famous Rockettes years to master their craft. But it took them only moments to master paying bills at Chase.com, depositing checks at Chase ATMs, and transferring funds on the mobile app. Technology designed for you, so you can easily master the way you bank.
Well, in buy-sell-hold action today, Bruker was rated a new buy at Stifel. Cepheid also rated a new buy at Stifel. DuPont Fabros is a new hold at BB&T Capital. Magic Software was raised to overweight at Barclays. Quanta Services cut to neutral at Robert Baird. Sun Edison cut to sell at Axiom Capital. And Fox International rated new outperform at Oppenheimer. Thanks for joining us for Small Cap Nation, and we'll see you back here tomorrow. Until then, check back for the latest news and research on smallcapnation.com, Facebook, and Twitter.